Hi everybody, I'm Chef Cleva and I'm a little curious about cannoli.
A recipe you can't refuse, eh? That was my Italian. I did the hand thing.
Let's just get started. Yeah, thank you. Alright guys, the name cannoli actually comes from the word galvanicetta.
One more time?
Galvanicetta.
Do you have to do the hand?
So we're just going to put everything together and we're going to start on our shells. So the first thing we need to get done for our cannolis would be our shells. So for our cannoli shells, we need 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1/3 cup of marsala wine, 1 egg, and 1 egg white. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our dry ingredients, we're gonna put them together. That means our flour, our sugar, and our salt. So when it comes to the cannolis, there are two competing histories in regards to how we came to this lovely dessert that we all enjoy today. So the first one is basically some loving, wholesome, just amazing nuns came together and they made this dessert for celebrations, for special occasions.
Like Easter Sunday.
Okay, so once our dry ingredients are together, then we're gonna add our wet. We're gonna add the butter, 1 egg, and then last but not least, our marsala wine. So when your dry ingredients go in there, you do want to make sure they're well put together. You don't want your dough essentially to have a chunk of sugar or a chunk of salt that isn't really putting anything together. So everybody together, everyone's come together. The more interesting, I guess, history when it comes to cannolis is that between 827 and 1091 AD, an ancient Arabic people known as the Saracen.
One more time?
Saracen. They brought sugar to Italy, which actually is an ingredient in the shells, and that's how we got the shells. So what happened was a harem.
I'm sorry, what?
A harem, a lovely group of ladies, made the dessert in order to celebrate their big boss man's masculinity. And
that's why it's filled with cream.
Okay. Just don't get credit. But another little tidbit was that it was also possibly made by concubines who were trying to catch the attention of a prince, whether he be single or possibly taken and they just wanted his attention, I don't know. But the concubines wanted to let the prince know what's up.
So you're saying beware of any woman giving you a cannoli?
I mean, that's your business. So what you're gonna do is once the dough has formed, you're going to wrap it and let it sit for approximately 30 minutes to 2 hours. The egg white is actually going to be used to hold the shell together when we put them in the oil. So for our cannoli filling, we have our 32 ounces of whole milk ricotta cheese, and then we have 1 1/2 cups of powdered sugar, 3/4 cup of chocolate chips, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. So the reason why we put the ricotta cheese in this bowl with paper towel is because the cheese is actually very wet. And even though you do want some moisture, you don't want it to be overwhelmingly wet because then you'll have a runny filling. So it's best to use cheesecloth. So real quick, when I went to the grocery store to get cheesecloth, I asked the guy, hey, where do you keep your cheesecloth? And he sent me to the dairy aisle. So I am here to tell you that is not what cheesecloth is. Cheesecloth is like a mesh that you can use for herbs, to put into sauces, that sort of thing. So if you're looking for cheesecloth, it's usually going to be in the spice aisle or maybe like the Tupperware aisle, not in the dairy aisle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ricotta cheese, we're going to add it to our mixer, and then we're going to put our powdered sugar and our cinnamon in there so that these three have a chance to get together before we introduce the chocolate chips to it. I'm gonna put this in this bowl. So we're ready for our shells. So now that our dough is rested, we're going to roll it out with our rolling pin to about 1/8 inch thick. If you don't have a rolling pin, I have been told that you can use a full bottle of wine, maybe the marsala wine, to roll everything out if you don't have one. So after we roll our dough out to be 1/8 of an inch thick, we're gonna take our biscuit cutter to cut out a bunch of holes. And then we're gonna use our cannoli tubes to create the shells. We're gonna do like little cannoli taco situation.
Wait, you don't put them in the tube?
No, do not put them in the tubes. No, this is actually where the egg whites come in. So we're gonna take our biscuit cutter, cut the circle, and then we're gonna take the circle and we're gonna fold it over the tube and use the egg whites to seal the dough on top before we put it in the oil. When you have your oil, make sure it's preheated to at least 250 degrees. If you have a thermometer, great. Personally, like, don't come for me. I'm sorry, but this is how I was taught to learn when oil is ready. Take a little tab of the water and just a little droplet. Back up. You want to get it burned. As soon as you hear that pop, you know your oil is ready to go.
Dangerous. I like it.
I have no money. Please do not sue me. So once you put your cannolis, they're all little mini cannoli tacos, into the oil, you're gonna wait about 2 to 3 minutes until they're crisp. Because once you take them out, you don't wanna put them back in. And a good way to test if they are crisp, you can get a pair of tongs. These have silicone, even though the recipe does recommend you use metal tongs. These are heat safe tongs. And you just give them a quick little tap in the oil, and when you feel that they're crisp, then you just take them out and put them on a paper towel to absorb any oil that's left over from being in there. And then once they're cool to the touch, you're gonna just shimmy the tube out of the shell, and then we're gonna fill it with our filling.
How long will it take to cool?
I would say give about like 10-15 minutes to be sure. Our cannoli shells are done. I'm really excited. They came out so great, nice and crisp. And now we're gonna put our filling in. So you're gonna use a pastry bag. You can get these at Party City, Walmart, grocery stores. So these aren't hard to come by. Mine just happen to be extra large, but you can get any size that you're comfortable with. You're gonna fill your pastry bag with filling, and then so you can handle it, and then you're gonna slowly squeeze the filling into each shell. Once you finish filling up your shells, you can dust them with powdered sugar. You can dip the end in melted chocolate if you want to be fancy. This is our final product, our delicious cannolis. I cannot wait to try one. Please let me know in the comments how your recipe came out. Did you try the water test to make sure your oil was hot or not? Or did you use a thermometer? Either one is cool. So yeah, like I said, they look really great. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that little bell, however this thing works. I'm Chef Cleva, and don't forget, everyone's a little curious.
Can we have some cannolis now? Cause
I'm going to have one. I don't know about you, I'm going to.
You know what?